one time he had his phone connected to the car, like to the car Bluetooth. And we were on vacation with his family, and he was taking a shower, allegedly. And we're all packing up the car, trying to, get ready to go. And we're like, oh, he's taking a shower, it's fine. And then suddenly we just hear moaning while we're packing up the car, like intense moaning. And my boyfriend's dad goes, I think he's watching porn.
Welcome to this episode of Unattainable, soon to be the #1 podcast show in the U.S. Glad to have you with us and hope you'll continue to be a part of our family for the foreseeable future. And if so, please hit that subscribe button. You can watch and listen to our show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and all the other platforms. And so, we have two very special guests here today, Katy and Hanna. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. All right, so we're going to talk about a bunch of very taboo subjects today.
My favorite.
Yeah, exactly. Let's start with your relationship status. Whoever wants to go first.
I'm like going first because mine's a little bit more complicated.
Okay.
Oh, yours is I'm like
those are the ones we like.
She's locked and loaded in a great relationship. I don't know. I think that playing the field, but at the same time doing the complete opposite and just not even looking, but just in a really situationship, as I like to call it.
What does playing the field mean?
I don't know. I think that it definitely means something different for everyone, but for me, it's just I'm not actively looking, but if the opportunity arises, like I will, and I am interested, like I'll take it, but just keeping my options open. But at the same time, like I said, I'm being lazy about it. I'm not going too far out of my way to make anything happen. I don't know.
What's your type?
My type? Oh God. Can I say toxic? Like,
sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's people are like, oh, avoid the red flags. I'm like, I see the red flag and I'm like, oh, red means green means go. Like, let's go towards. Yeah, I'm like, let's go towards it. I don't know, definitely athletic, taller, which is so funny because the guy I'm with right now is literally the opposite of tall. He's like 5'8", a short king. But
what are some of the red flags you've dealt with in the past that you should have avoided and you knew from the beginning that you should have avoided?
My ex-boyfriend, one of the first conversations I'm having with him, he was in a frat at the college we went to, Cornell, and he was very open about how he was the pledge master, which basically at Cornell the pledge master picks kind of the punishments or the education, as I like to call it, for the new members. And he said he really liked it because it helped him get out some anger, which definite red flag, kind of wanting to inflict pain on others. Let's see. Then my other ex,
Well, wait.
Hold
on.
You're like, wait a minute.
Let's talk about this one.
I think it'd be funny if we answered these questions for each other.
Oh, God.
Well, I want to know so in the beginning, what was your thought when did you think that from the very start and then you just avoided it?
No, he was so quiet, so shy. In high school was that really quiet kid. I didn't know him in high school, but he would talk about his high school experience. It was very quiet, very shy. Then at Cornell got into the fun party frat, I guess, and I had no clue about this side of him. So when he told me that he was a pledge master, and for that reason, because he wanted to decide what they did to the guys. I mean, they were throwing like Roman candles at their backs and different crazy stuff that I don't even want to hear about or want to know about at them. I was really taken aback. It was almost as if it was a different person that I was in a relationship with, and different side that I didn't know and never even saw.
So what were your thoughts at that point? Do you remember like what your immediate thoughts were?
Oh God, this is terrible. My immediate thought was, that's so cute. I'm not exaggerating at all. Like, my immediate thought was like, wow, that's so cute. That's so sweet. He has initiative. He can take charge. No, my immediate thought should be, run. Why does someone want to inflict pain on others and is excited to do it?
That's crazy. So how does that apply to your relationship?
He told me that he had a lot of issues with his dad and would get into fist fights with his dad, not close with his parents. And I think how your relationships with your parents can oftentimes kind of trickle down into how you treat your loved ones, and including those you're in a relationship with. And that was a relationship totally of not respect. We were not on even playing field. If anything, like, I felt like I was a pledge or a new member in his frat, even though he wasn't taking it physically out on me, just sometimes the emotional
Right.
and the verbal ways I was spoken to. And I think just the way he played me emotionally and mentally, more so.
Manipulate it.
Yeah. Mental games. Yeah.
So let's talk about you, Katy.
Let's do it.
Your current status.
Current relationship status. I am currently in a relationship, and I would say the relationship itself, if you were just to look at his name and my name and just keep it as the two of us, it would be one thing. But there is a lot of baggage attached to it as far as the family relationships involved, I'd say. But he and I are very happy. It's just that there happen to be a lot of things that, I guess, obstacles that are in no way in our control. And I'd say the biggest thing right now is his family does not like me whatsoever. Mm-hmm. I'm not allowed at his house. They say I'm not a good person. And just in general, I feel like the vibe when we're together, just him and I, or if we're with my family or my friends or his friends, it's completely different than when we're with his family. And if you want to ask more questions about that, I can talk.
Well, I already know a little bit of information on this, so
yeah.
I think that and this is a bit of a tricky situation considering the fact that you are currently in a relationship. So I don't know how much of what's going on I want to put out in public, but
I'm an open book.
Right. I know that. However, I don't particularly think that what you're the information is going to help the relationship in a way. Mm-hmm. So I sort of don't really want to have stuff come out that wouldn't necessarily be helpful to our audience anyway. So, however, the one thing that I do want to address is that you mentioned that, they believe that you're not a good person and all this stuff. And for the sake of this conversation, for the audience to know that the opposite is true. So, but let's talk about the quarantine. So has the quarantine made your relationship, do you think, worse or better?
Well, we met during quarantine.
Okay, so then let's talk about how that happened.
Okay, so I was I don't even think fully broken up with my ex. I had just found out that he had been cheating, and I think my immediate reaction was kind of along the lines of like, fuck, I don't deserve this shit. And I think that kind of pushed me to go out of my comfort zone and reach out to like other people and pursue other relationships. And so I was with a bunch of friends one night, and there was this event where if you had Bumble, you could get free drinks at my school. And I was like, this is perfect timing because I am newly, I don't even think my ex and I were broken up, I was just like, fuck this, like I'm ready. So I downloaded it. Didn't really go on it much, but kind of just swiped through. And the thing about Bumble is the female has to make the move first, whoever identifies as the female in this case. And I just never did. I don't know why. I just put my Instagram in my like personal information. I was like, if they like me enough, they'll come and find me. So of course, like I get a couple messages of like, saw you on Bumble, and I'm like, ew. And then one day I got this message saying like, I think you're like really cute. We matched on Bumble. And I clicked on his profile and I saw that all of my coworkers followed him. And so I was like, that's weird. I've never heard of this person before, but you know, all of my friends know who he is. And so I asked them, and they were like, oh my gosh, like he's so sweet. And then we just kind of started talking, and I feel like it was pretty quick. Like just, you know, I met him through my friends from work, and then we were all hanging out together, and then he and I started hanging out, like just him and I. And then I was able to, like, I guess kind of really see I was in a way just like kind of stuck on like the last guy for a bit, and not in a position to where I was willing to let that go. And then I was able to do that after meeting this guy, and I think that is kind of what kicked it off, I'd say.
What makes him so special?
I'd say I genuinely adore how he treats me, how he treats everyone in general, but I'm kind of high maintenance with affection. I like guys to be obsessed with me. Like I'll just straight up say it. Like I do not hide that at all. I'll say it if I like am meeting a guy or something. I'm like, if you're not like obsessed with me, I'm gonna lose interest. And yes, that could be a little arrogant, but the key is like I want you to be obsessed with me so I can be obsessed with you. Sure. And be able to, you know, go out of my way to make your day better. And I feel like he always goes out of his way to make my day better. And I also just really appreciate how, I'd say, just like driven he is. Really pushes me to go outside my comfort zone. Last guy was a sad boy who didn't really push me to be my best self. And so I think definitely an upgrade from a TikToker.
TikToker with the content too.
That's funny. Well, I guess a couple of things there is everybody has their own way of what makes them happy in a relationship. And so being affectionate and then require affection is nothing wrong with that. Hanna, do you feel the same way as far as affection? Like, do you like guys to be obsessed with you or no?
Honestly, it's like I like it in theory, but I really don't like a lot of affection. I really don't like hand holding, any public displays of affection. I really hate it. I really push it away. It honestly kind of disgusts me. Like, I'm not the girl that when we're saying goodbyes, I don't want to kiss goodbye. Like I don't want that in public. Like I honestly turn my head away from it. Like I will kind of back off. Like I'll go in for a hug. Like I'm fine for a hug, but Katy and I are very different in that terms, because I've seen Katy, you know, with her current boyfriend, and they are great together, but they are very affectionate. And it's like when I'm with her, I'm like, oh, I want that, but I don't want that. Like, that's just not quite what I want.
Well, that's like, interesting, because when you say that, I feel like if you don't clarify how you are with a person right off the bat, that could come off as very confusing to someone.
Oh, no, it extremely is. Like, I know that the current guy who I have been seeing every single time on cue the past 2 months, I always turn my head away. I do not want to be kissed in public. And he's always, whoa, what's happening? Why is your vibe changed? Like, what did I do? And I'm just like, it's not you. I don't like to be kissed in public. And I say that multiple times. And I can admit I'm very like hot or cold with someone. Like, I either want them, I like that constant messaging back and forth, but then I might see them and I don't want that, or I don't like that constant messaging back and forth. It's very hot and cold. It's very confusing. But I think kind of the way I am generally is I like to know that someone's into me, but I do not like constant affection. I do not like constantly being touched. I'm very much so an on my terms type of person.
Okay, so the question is, how do guys navigate through with someone like that? That's because that's what everybody wants to know. Because the question is not, everybody has different personalities, right? Now the goal is, if you want a relationship to work, then you have to communicate those things. You have to communicate how you are, who you are, what makes you happy, what doesn't make you happy, what annoys you, what doesn't. A lot of times people don't do that, especially in the beginning of a relationship. You sort of just let things play out, where if you are sending so many mixed signals to a guy, he'll either run away or
way
he'll...
to call me out there.
Well, I mean, but it's
you
true.
just fully called me out.
but it's not just you, though. I feel like there are a lot of women and men, it doesn't really matter, in relationships that are like that, constantly send mixed signals, which then makes it difficult for the partner, in that case, figure out how to deal with it, or how to navigate through all those obstacles. So what is, if you were dating you, what would you tell yourself?
I think that, like you said, it's all about communications. Like I if you couldn't tell, like I talk a lot. Like I'm a big talker. Sometimes you're just like, God, shut the hell up, Hannah. So I'm not afraid to tell someone like how I feel. Like I'm not afraid to tell someone I don't like to be touched in public. And so I do get that. I do send mixed signals, and I think it becomes a lot of it. I think that a lot of people, they're attracted to the game. They're attracted to the chase, kind of keeping it all up in the air instead of just laying your cards all out on the table and saying, this is what I want from you and this is how I feel about you. So I think that when dealing, I think it's hard because I think a lot of people are trying to play that game, which is so silly, to be in your 20s or 30s or however old and playing a mind game with others. So I think that kind of the way to navigate it is just to be open and honest. And I'm pretty open and honest about what I like and what I don't like. But at the same time, I think it's kind of watching someone else's body language. Like when someone's attracted to you, you can most of the time you can tell. And especially with girls, like girls make it pretty obvious when they're into someone, or at least I think so. Yeah. You say it.
Sometimes.
You don't have to. I don't think a lot of times you have to say it in your words. You can say it in your body language. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does make sense. It's just debatable, because you could be attracted to someone, and sometimes, especially in you guys' age, if you don't know what it is that you want, then you tell yourself you want something, where then later on you realize that is not what you wanted. And so it could make it confusing and essentially blindside your partner if what you said you wanted is no longer how you feel. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, you're definitely right. On a lighter note, if you go to hold my hand and I slap it away, I don't want my hand held. Like that's very, very basic, very general.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that you tell the person, hey, like I don't want you to do that. Yeah. Right? But if you don't tell them, obviously it'll get very confusing. It's like why
why
is that happening? Did you ever is there a reason why you're that way?
I mean,
do you think there is?
Yeah, there are totally so many different reasons why I am that way. I think that most of my relationships have been very hot and cold ones, where I was on and off with someone all throughout my high school experience, basically, and even into college. And it was a very hot and cold relationship. Like the moments where we were good, we were great, but then the moments where we weren't great, we were terrible. And so I think that's kind of why, you know, you said mixed signals, always sending mixed signals, because I've always only ever been in relationships where it's very hot, it's very hot and cold. Like we're either one moment very fine with each other and very affectionate, and the next moment not even talking to each other, very cold, very rude towards each other. So I think that's kind of why, because that's all I ever really know, and in a sense got used to that, and that being okay, that I'm almost confused and shocked when it's this constant good, and it's almost like I'm expecting the bad part to come.
Do you think a part of you has been brainwashed into thinking that that's normal?
Oh, 100%, yes. I mean, like, to go back to one of the first thing I said, like red flags I look for, like, okay, that sentence alone, you're hearing that's a red flag of my own. That's a red flag where you're like, okay, it's time to get this girl into therapy. Like, let's talk about this one. Like, let's unpack it. Let's decompress this shit. But no, it's definitely something that I've become accustomed to.
No, you don't have to answer this question. Do you think there is a red flag about the guy that you're seeing now? You don't have to answer.
He has many red flags. but he's a nice guy. I think, yeah, he's a nice guy. He's a short king.
Okay, I'll bring you on a future episode once that relationship goes to shit.
Yeah.
Katy, what is your Bumble? How was your Bumble experience? Aside from the EUs, which I don't really know what that means. What are those EUs that you're talking about? Why are there?
I would say people can be, you know, this isn't just with Bumble though. This is with any sort of dating app in general. Bumble is the only one I ever had, and I had it for maybe a month. So maybe I'm not the best person to give my experience, but in the experience I did have, there, you know, which same thing you get on Instagram or anything, just from, you know, people that are creepy, you know, it's just how it is. And, you know, there's not always going to be people that are going to, you know, treat you with respect, or, you know, the people that you do give a chance, maybe they start off seeming like, oh, cool, like this person's interesting. And then the tables turn and you're like, okay, I see why this person is on a dating app and they haven't been able to get a girlfriend or boyfriend or partner in general, you know. I'd say there's just a very, very wide range of options out there. And I had mine for boys and girls too. So even more options, like even more people out there. And so I was just like, it was a little overwhelming, but I also didn't really find it interesting. I see some people out there just constantly swiping, and they have Bumble, Tinder, you know, whatever it is, for years. And I was tired after like a day. I was like, I'm bored of this, you know, I'm tired of finding, like, you know, I guess it just didn't feel as candid as meeting somebody in person or something like that. But times are different right now with coronavirus. So
Do you think that if you hadn't met your current boyfriend, that you would have ended up trying out different dating apps?
I don't think so. I think you know, kind of even before I started talking to my current boyfriend, I had deleted it, and I feel like it less had to do with, because I mean, I knew I could get away with it if I wanted to still keep it, and it honestly didn't have to do anything with him at first. It was just more so I was like, okay, I've realized this isn't the lifestyle for me. I have some friends who will, you know, go on a new Bumble date or new Tinder date every weekend and, you know, meet all these people. And I got tired after it, like, you know, twice meeting up with somebody. You know, I was like, this isn't really my thing. I don't like to force things. I kind of like to just let things happen naturally. And so I think that's kind of why I don't think I would have gotten anything.
Interesting. Thoughts on OnlyFans?
I tried to sign up for an account and they rejected me.
Why?
I don't know if like, I don't.
What's the name?
Do you think it was the name?
It was the name.
I don't even know. I think maybe
What
because
was
my
the name?
no comment. I think I don't even know. It could have been that the picture of my ID wasn't clear enough. That's what I think it probably was, because they do ask for like your ID and stuff when you sign up. But I think I kind of took the first like rejection as a sign. I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe it's not for me.
Well, let's say they had gotten you confirmed. Then what's the goal on?
Well, I completely the concept of it is great to me. I just genuinely
Which is what?
being able to I guess it's a good platform for I don't know though. Actually, I'll say it's good and bad, because I think it does kind of create an issue for sex workers. It kind of changed the whole game for like in-person sex workers, especially with the whole, everything happening with quarantine and OnlyFans blowing up so much. I think a lot of people are, they want to see their favorite celebrity or, something like that. It's kind of like it's changing the industry for sex workers, in my opinion. But I'd also say that at the same time, somebody wants to go out there and they want to make money in a way that involves, I guess it's not always full nudity. I've never been on it, but I think it's optional of whether you want to share nude photos or not. And I think that's totally great. I think that's I'm like, that's amazing. No, I'd say I support it 100%. And while there is some ambiguity around the ethics of just this whole new concept and what it means for sex workers, but I'd say in general that I think it's allowed a lot of people to open their minds more to that kind of thing. A lot of people, it's becoming more normalized, I'd say, and I can appreciate that.
We do live in LA, so I suppose what we think here is very different than what the rest of the country thinks.
That's very, very true.
Oh, wait, can I make a comment?
Yeah, for sure.
So I think everyone knows who Mia Khalifa is, but she actually came forward and said that she thinks that OnlyFans is great. And the way to think about it's the difference between, buying mass-produced milk at the grocery store. That was her analogy, versus buying ethically raised organic milk. It's kind of one, you pay a little bit extra of a premium. I mean, this is Mia Khalifa's story, it's not mine, but you pay a premium to have something that's ethically made. And so, I mean, she's been screwed over by the industry and has been quite open about how she's been, I think, even sued by various porn companies, producers, I don't know what they like to call themselves, in the past for her work, because she wasn't getting properly paid. So OnlyFans allows her to kind of have a channel and have a way to be properly paid for the work that she is producing. So I think it's good. And yeah, I think for OnlyFans, you don't have to do full nudity, which is cool. I heard that Bella Thorne has an OnlyFans and she doesn't post nude on hers. And then Sonia Morgan from Real Housewives of New York City, the woman's in her 60s, in her late 50s, early 60s. I mean, she's older. She has an OnlyFans. So, I mean, I think it's great. But at the same time, I think it is opening people's minds, but I have seen people be quite destructive. There's a girl from my school and she has an OnlyFans account and she is very vocal about posting her OnlyFans, and she even has an OnlyFans Instagram account that gives preview of her OnlyFans account, and she is not afraid to post the DMs that she gets. And guys are mean. Guys are cruel. I mean, guys are calling her sluts, whores, you name it. They're calling her that. And so it's really hard because you get one group of people that in some ways it is normalizing and opening up people to, you know, sex work is real work, and women using their bodies to make money and doing what they please with their body. But at the same time, you do see the kind of backlash that people are giving, and people just being generally horrible and saying rude things because it is over the internet, so they can get away with it. They're behind a screen.
Yeah, I mean, bullies are everywhere as far as that's concerned. So anytime somebody has an opinion about something, they'll unleash it on the world as long as they feel like there's no consequences.
True. I feel like as a woman, though, or at least in my personal experience, like I think it hurts, because I think that when someone says something to you about your body or the way that you view yourself, it really hurts. I don't think people will say that type of stuff that they will say online in person.
I mean, cyberbullying perhaps has more. Well, I don't know if it's more damaging to a person than in-person bullying, but I would say they're equally damaging.
Like, someone calls me a whore on the phone, I'm gonna be like crying my eyes out. Yeah. I'm like a baby about that stuff.
So, if a guy had an OnlyFans account, would you date him?
I don't care. I'm like, get that money. Okay.
If a guy said to you, my OnlyFans account is, I videotape all my every time I have sex.
No, is he getting consent for this? Like, are women giving him consent?
Well, yeah, obviously. No, so he would say to you, we're dating, like, where you and I are together, and like, this is what I post on my account. Like, are you down doing it? Would you say yes?
I honestly would say no. I'm pretty private in that sense.
What if he gave you a cut?
I would still say no. No one needs
Katy
to be.
Sounds like she will say yes.
I know. I think Katy, maybe you need to have a conversation with your boyfriend.
It was a topic of conversation with my ex-boyfriend for a while. So I mean, I know there's couples out there that do it together, and if that's fun for you and you enjoy doing that as a couple, I think that's great, because then you're growing stronger as a couple, and then where's the downside to that?
No, cuckolding is a thing. It's like when you like to watch other people have sex. Yeah. So there's definitely a demographic for that. I personally can say I would not be down to get. I could not. I'm like trying to imagine myself in that situation. Like, we have the ring light set up here, and even I still feel like I have imposter syndrome right now. So I couldn't imagine like being in a bedroom with like the ring lights surrounding me, and I'm like, oh my God, like, let's go under the covers. Let's be covered. Like, no, thank you. Like, I'm not ready to own my shit with the ring light.
You're like, I don't even hold hands in public. What do you think this is?
I know. True.
All right. So, since you brought up porn, what are your thoughts, Katy, on guys who watch porn? Yay or nay?
My opinion has changed over a period of time. I think just growing up, going to church, I would hear all the like sermons on porn, and then I actually had to write an essay on just on porn in general in high school. It was like the topic, so I chose to write about Ted Bundy and how his original just mild obsession with softcore porn turned into, you know, regular porn, then hardcore porn, and it just like became an addiction. So it's definitely scary if it can become an addiction. I'd say similar to, you know, drugs or alcohol. It's a matter of balance, I'd say. And I think I have been in a situation where, I'll say with my current boyfriend, one time he had his phone connected to the car, like to the car Bluetooth, and we were on vacation with his family, and he was taking a shower allegedly, and we're all packing up the car trying to, you know, get ready to go, and we're like, oh, he's taking a shower, it's fine. And then suddenly we just hear moaning while we're packing up the car, like intense moaning, and my boyfriend's dad goes, I think he's watching porn. And I was like, oh my God, he is.
For context, let's make sure everybody knows that his family is conservative.
Yes, they are. And I was I think just embarrassed in general because everybody knew this. It wasn't even a matter of like me catching him. It was everybody. And I think I was also, I mean, obviously I was busy like doing other stuff. And I think I was also just like, why didn't you come and get me? You know, of course, like I'm just naturally going to be kind of like, my roommate was like, I would be really upset. And so I was kind of upset. And he was like, I'm really sorry. I was just in the shower and then just suddenly just needed to get a nut. And I was like, all right, you know, I don't like it, but let's just move on. I think I just don't really want to know about it. And there's also the topic of, would you be more hurt if, you know, the girls in porn look like you or if they don't look like you? And for that, I'm not so sure. I don't really know how I would feel. I guess maybe I'd prefer they look like me. Because I'm like, I want to make sure I know it's still something I'm capable of providing, you know, something, you know, just in general. I think like that's Katy kind of
experience.
Yeah, exactly. But I think in general, it's okay to watch porn. I mean, it's
but
sex
you don't like
is healthy.
Your boyfriend to watch it? I'm confused.
It's totally okay if he wants to watch it. I think I didn't like that I was there and like he had an outlet to relieve himself that would involve me. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, I think that's kind of where I stand on that. And then I don't know, I guess just in general, how frequently you do it. I mean, I've been in a relationship and been like, hey, I'm going to watch porn, you know, and it's just like no big deal. But if it's like something I'm doing every day, that's just my preference. But it's different for everybody in their relationship. Some people, they might be comfortable with that. Some people, it's like, hey, let's make porn together. So, you know, I think it's a touchy topic, but I definitely do not think that I would say it's a deal breaker if a guy watches porn.
What did his family say after you got out of the shower?
I think they're very sweep it under the rug kind of people. I think they just wanted to pretend that never ever happened. And
so they just didn't even say anything.
Never brought it up at all.
Wow.
They just nothing at all. I like went in to go find him and I was like, why is the door locked?
That's fun.
This was like a month after we had started dating too.
Oh,
so
wow, pretty early on.
It was pretty early on and I was like, what?
Hanna, boyfriend who watches porn.
Oh, my ex, like my most recent ex, he had a big porn addiction.
Oh, did he?
To preface this, like I'm totally fine with porn. Like I can honestly say I haven't really like experienced porn that much. You know, my first and only porn experience was actually I've seen porn twice. One was the Jay Alvarez video that's like literally a minute and 10 seconds that like everyone and their mother has seen. It's like blown up on TikTok. And then the other one was, okay, I had to do it. My sister and I, we watched Kim Kardashian's sex tape. And so those are my only two porn experiences.
Those do not qualify
it counts.
as anything. No, they don't.
Okay, well,
they do not qualify as porn videos.
It does qualify.
They're like sex tapes. They're not porn videos.
Okay, well, I'm saying that's my only experience with it. My only real knowledge.
You've never watched porn. Okay.
My only knowledge, really, of porn.
You're missing out.
Okay. Okay, probably I am, but honestly, like I don't care. Like I feel like.
Well, wait. Why have you never watched porn?
I've never had like the desire to. Like, does that make any sense? Actually, no. I have seen one porn video that during quarantine, my sister and I we watched one of Mia Khalifa's videos.
Why do you always watch porn with your sister?
What is up with you and sister watching porn together?
No. We watched
porno in itself.
No, and like literally we watched in like her living room, like in just like her living room like desktop, like because the reason why we watched it is because like we were like, well, why? What? I didn't know who Mia Khalifa was. I was like, who is Mia Khalifa? So I Googled it and then I was like, oh, like And then I watched it and I was just like, oh, this does not look comfortable. This does not look fun. Oh, no, no, no. I was like, this girl does need to get paid more money for that. That looks painful. So that really deterred me from the experience. Just like watching it, I was like, oh no.
Wait, how old were you?
I'm 20. I was 20. This is a recent experience. And I watched it and I was like, oh no, thank you. So I think that's kind of wise. I kind of see it. I'm like, well, and also like I said, my most recent ex, he grew up in a very, very Catholic family, like similar to Katy's boyfriend's family in like the sense that they like brush everything under the rug. And he had a very, very bad porn addiction to the point where, God, I'm like really putting him on blast. But he actually he's only came from sex once in his life.
Oh, wow.
And so like the first time he had like sex and just in the general sense, like, you know, penis in the vagina, P in the V action. Yeah, he was freshman year of college. He was 18. He was not able to finish from sex until he was after 21, and he's 22 now. So and he 99% of the time can't. And so like, I mean, and the only way he can finish is if he like gives himself a hand job, like literally. That's how he finishes. And then sometimes he said that he was able to like finish from head too, but that was still like 90% of the time he couldn't. And so I think that being in a relationship with him and kind of every time just like really feeling, I don't know why, but really as a woman, it made me feel not feminine to not be able to have that experience with him. It didn't deter me away from porn. I still think porn's fine, but it definitely did open me up to the negative side of porn, because it's like the fact that you have a 22-year-old man, boy, whatever you want to qualify him as, who's not able to come from intercourse, like sex alone, is scary. And like he told me, he was like, I know that the only way I will have children is if I have to, ejaculate into a cup and then like turkey baster style it. Which like that's something that I don't know why, like for me, like that's crazy to me. And I think that I don't know what it is, if it's porn creating unrealistic sex expectations or what it is. Like he says that for him it's just something mentally, like he can come close but he can never just like come, and it started from porn. And he's like, I've been to multiple therapists, sex therapists about it, and like I can't figure the issue out. So I think really having that experience, I feel like some people would be like, ew, fuck porn because of that, but like I'm still like, porn's still fine. But it just really definitely kind of opened me up to the negative side and kind of the negative repercussions that I guess intense watching porn can have.
I mean, I have to say that is very specific to who he is as a person, as opposed to what effects porn have on a guy, because that's definitely not normal for that to happen to someone as a result of porn. Although I could see how he could essentially focus on the sensation so much that only that sensation alone could allow him to finish, in which case everything else just doesn't work, so that's understandable. But that's definitely a very specific issue that he particularly had.
I think you're right. No, and definitely like just paired with, as you can tell, my inexperience when it comes to porn. I think that just, I was like, oh, that's porn. This is porn.
Porn's fault.
On the porn.
I was like, this is what porn is, like painfulness and then his issues.
That's interesting. The last thing I think I sort of want to talk about is your experiences with drugs and alcohol, if you've had any that you want to talk about, where do you think it made the relationship better or worse, and why? And it could be, either person. It could be your own experience with drugs or alcohol, or your partner's.
Do you want to for a bit? Yeah. You probably have more to say than I do. Trying to think. My the boy who I dated all throughout high school, he has a severe drinking and drug issue, and it's gone to the point where he's quite open with me about it, and he's told me that he doesn't like being sober. Like he starts his morning by drinking beers, and he's lost a ton of weight from it, and that he spends, you know, his money on alcohol, and he'll never admit that it's an issue, but it definitely is. And I went to go visit him at his college campus, and I mean, he was on the lacrosse team at the team party. I had just gone there, and he goes, okay, we need to get to the house. Lacrosse asked immediately. I'm like, why? And he's like, well, we have 2 hours until it's open, and I want to get as much alcohol in as I can while like it's still there. I'm like, 2 hours. And he got absolutely belligerent drunk to the point that like he was asked to leave his own team's function. And then even after we had broken up, like he would just get so belligerently drunk, and he would call me. And one time he FaceTimed me, and he's like screaming horrendous things at me. And he actually got caught by campus police outside peeing with his pants down, like pants down and everything. So I think that's indecent exposure. That you're definitely getting in trouble there. Absolutely belligerent. Apparently that entire night had gone around to 4 different dorms on campus mooning people.
Wow.
Like he's so drunk he doesn't remember any of it. So I think watching and being in a relationship with someone like that, it was really hard because I always wanted to fix him, and you can't fix people, especially when they're in that state. And so I could definitely say that drugs and alcohol made our relationship worse when he was in that state, but then at the same time it always kept me wanting to go back to him because I always wanted to be able to fix him. Yeah. Exactly. And you know, now I've realized I'm never going to be that solution. He's never going to get any help. He's dropped out of school. Like I can only just be there for support for him. But it is hard kind of watching someone you care about just in a sense really deteriorate and become a completely different person, because he did change when he was drinking and on however many drugs he would go on. But yeah.
Wow. Katie.
So it's a little bit unique because I was sober for many years, throughout high school at least, after having a bit of an issue with abusing drugs. So I was only dating guys who were also abstinent from drugs and alcohol. So it kind of changed the entire dynamic. But then of course you're in a position where you're dating. I dated several guys who, sure, they got rid of their drug and alcohol problem, but they didn't get rid of the rest. And so, you know, you kind of learn that you're like, wow, was drugs and alcohol really the problem, or was it a symptom? So I think that kind of, I guess, put me in a position where I was going to be very careful when I did. You know, I'm 21 now, so like when I am in a position where, you know, I'm drinking and, you know, I don't use drugs besides marijuana, but I'd say I knew to be very careful in looking for a partner and knowing that I need to be aware of like their habits in case that could cause a downfall on my personal growth. But I'd say in general, since I have had relationships after using marijuana or alcohol, it really kind of depends on the other person's relationship with it as well, because in my last relationship, my partner didn't like to drink at all. And that was no issue for me until it became a matter of whenever I wanted to go out and go drink with my friends, I didn't want to have him there because he was going to be miserable the whole time. And he wouldn't even try to like have fun or anything if I like brought him out with me. It's just like not his thing. It's not something he enjoyed doing, and it is something I enjoyed doing. And so, you know, even though theoretically like it wasn't causing any direct issues, it was a matter of we weren't spending as much time together because it was a matter of interest. It wasn't something he was interested in. It was something I was interested in. And with my current partner, I'd say we're more on the same level of that. And so we're able to like go out and spend more quality time together doing those activities. And, you know, it's not a matter of like better or worse. We're just able to experience it together. And that's just in general how I feel about it.
So one thing that I want to point out is that when you talk about how your partner didn't like to drink, so in my experience, well, as you already know, I've never had alcohol or done any drugs. And so, and I've been out, you know, in events, clubs, parties, whatever. And I would say I've managed to have fun.
Yeah.
For the most part.
I did for all those years when I wasn't either. You
Right.
know? It's definitely possible.
But I think that's, and so one of the things that happened in my past relationship was that my ex became sober, and then she stopped wanting to go out because she felt like she couldn't have fun. However, something that had happened was that she felt like if she did want to drink, she would want to do it with a partner that also drinks. So in that particular situation, it had less to do with the fact that, or it had less to do with the matter of me having fun, and more so with the fact that she just wanted to have that experience and not feel, I would say in her mind, she didn't want to feel judged in a way, even though that I never was judgmental towards that anyway. So do you think that is how you felt about his presence something that you created in your mind, or was that an assumption, or was that something that he had pointed out?
It was a communication. You know, I definitely never wanted him to be somewhere where he wasn't comfortable. So I would always ask, like, here's who's going to be there. Here's who, you know, here's what time I'm going, how late we're going to be out. Would you be interested? And a lot of times he wouldn't be interested. And so as anybody would feel, it's never fun bringing out somebody who doesn't want to be there.
Sure.
So I don't think it was a matter of, it was just, it made it so that we had to go out of our way to make sure we found other activities to do together.
Right.
So
Makes sense. Last but not least, what do you recommend to the men out there who are looking for a intelligent yet attractive women?
Hannah's single. No. Do you have advice?
Any advice?
I'm gonna take a page out of Katy's book. I think just kind of go with the flow and be open, and don't try to force something. Like, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. And the best things in life, it sounds really cliche and cheesy and silly, especially given what we were just talking about with drugs and alcohol.
Right.
But like, the best things in life, they just happen. Like, they're not forced. It's not. You probably can find a quick fix on a dating app, but like you said, like, most of the time it's gonna be just going with the flow and running into someone and really clicking with them and finding that connection naturally in that way.
That's good.
I agree with that. I'd also say be mindful of where you're looking. If you want to find a smart, attractive woman, you got to figure out what kind of values that woman would have, like in your, I guess, just your ideal. Like, what am I looking for in a partner? And looking at those values, you're able to say, where is a good place to meet somebody with these values? And of course, during a pandemic, it's a lot more difficult. But I definitely say in life, it's not always up to fate. There's definitely places you can put or positions you can put yourself in to where you're more likely to have success. So if that's, hitting up a college campus at Harvard or something, to find the woman of your dreams, I don't even know. But if you're looking for a certain type, and you really, really, really want to go for it, you got to be strategic about where you're looking, for sure.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it. It's been lovely talking to both of you.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, absolutely.
Thank you so much for watching and listening. Your support means the world, so please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and we'll see you on the next episode of Unattainable.